Today, the White House announced that the administration will fall short of its goal to have 70% of adults at least partially vaccinated by July 4th. The head of the White House COVID response team says the country has reached that 70% for age 30 and up, but it will take a few extra weeks to reach that level for Americans 18 and older. ABC News medical contributor Dr. John Brunstein and ABC News reporter Ann Flaherty are here to help us break this down. And Dr. Brunstein, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And so, Ann, according to the CDC, as of May 22nd, 80% of people 65 and older had received at least one dose, but only 38% of people age 18 to 29. Why is that?
Well, this was amazing data by the CDC. It really puts into perspective Biden's goal on this, that he wanted all adults, not just people over 30. He wanted people over 18 to get at least one dose by the 4th of July, and that is not happening. What the CDC survey found was there are about a fourth of people that age, 18 to 30, who had no interest, were never going to get the vaccine, and then about another fourth who are in this wait-and-see approach. They want more information. They want to see how it works for other people.
Dr. Brunstein, so far 16 states and the District of Columbia have vaccinated at least 70% of their adult population with at least one dose. You look at that distribution, though, you see most of those states, up in the Northeast, the states that are not there in other parts of the country with the lowest rates down in the South. You can look at it and look at it politically or culturally. How do you look at it when you see the geographical divide in this country?
Yeah, you're really seeing a sort of a tale of two countries right now. The bottom 10 states are hovering around 30% vaccinated. And this is all in the South. This is mostly right-leaning. And even if you look even in the older adults, you're still about 20% still have not been vaccinated. And with large pockets of unvaccinated people, that is a real concern for surges. This is a lot driven by access. We know that there are vaccine deserts across this country and mostly concentrated in the South in states like Alabama and Arkansas, but it's also because of confidence. We know that there is still a big pushback against this vaccine, partly because they're waiting for authorization, partly because of concerns around side effects, safety. But then you also have these challenges of conspiracy theories, belief in pseudoscience, this sort of mentality that, you can't tell me what to do. So there are so many issues at play here that to move that needle to get to that 70% mark in those states is going to be incredibly challenging.
And if current trends continue, younger people won't reach the same level of coverage as older people by the end of August. So then what, as schools start to reopen and people start to go back to work?
Well, that's a big concern. As John mentioned, the Delta variant now being 20% of cases in the U.S. This is a wildly transmissible virus now that's gaining strength in the U.S. Every child under 12 is unprotected. People with who are immunocompromised are unprotected. So as we move into fall, I don't think we're going to see younger children have access to the vaccine until later in the year. So that does become a concern with schools. Now, keep in mind, schools tended not to be home of big outbreaks because they require kids to wear masks and to socially distance. But I do think you're going to have these social gatherings, sports, things like that that could really be a problem later down the road.
And Dr. Brunstein, I wonder if we're all living in kind of chapter one of the pandemic, where the wild strain, if in fact it was, I guess, is the dominant concern. And we're now looking at the Delta variant that's now 20% of the cases and is doubling every 2 weeks. So how big a concern is that? Given our vaccination profile right now and what it's going to be going forward, as Ann was describing?
Yeah, Anne described it well. There's a real concern about Delta variant right now. It's the most transmissible. We even have this concern about Delta Plus. It wreaked havoc in India. We're seeing cases surge in the UK. This is among, partially vaccinated people. So, while the situation in the US is good, we're seeing cases and hospitalizations and deaths drop. I worry about this sort of sense of false, security that we have right now. The Delta is scarier because it is more transmissible. It is potentially more deadly. We're seeing, real surges of cases where people are getting severe illness much more quickly than we saw with the original Alpha variant. And so because of this, we're concerned. And also, these vaccines, if you're not fully protected, may be also of concern. They may not offer that protection against Delta that we've seen with previous variants. All that being said is that this puts more pressure on people to get vaccinated. I know that, we see cases dropping. We don't think that the vaccine is right for you. But ultimately, if you don't get vaccinated, we're going to head into another problem, potentially a summer or fall surge that will likely lead to unnecessary deaths.
And Dr. Brunstein, Indiana University students are now suing the school over its vaccine mandate. I also got a viewer question on Twitter about this, asking how can a public college mandate a vaccine when it's not fully FDA approved? What's your take on that?
Yeah, I get this question a lot. This is something that is turning into a large debate. And I think the central argument is that these vaccines are experimental. So how could you force an experimental vaccine on students? But the reality is these are not experimental vaccines. They have been highly tested. They are safe and effective. And I think that is what people have to realize. This authorization would not have gone through if the FDA didn't know that these vaccines were appropriate to disseminate to the public. So, we know schools already mandate vaccines for things like flu, measles, and mumps. So it's not surprising that they would push for this. Now, of course, they're going to have to make special concessions for various health status or religious exemptions. And in that case, those students may have to socially distance or wear a mask. But I really have to emphasize that the underlying impact of COVID itself is far greater than any risk around the vaccines. And we just keep having to hammer that point home over and over again.
All right, Dr. John Brunstein and Flaherty, great to have you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.